Hi, I'm Matt Jackson working with Gym Club Solutions, and today we're going to be filming a video tutorial on how to teach a static inlocate on rings. Okay, so when developing a static inlocate on ring, one of the most important things is to look at the gymnast's shoulder flexibility and movement. So what we're going to do first today is work with a band so that we can do inlocates and dislocates to look at the shoulder flexibility. But by using the band, the gymnast can open the band slightly wider if their shoulders are slightly tighter, allowing the gymnast's shoulders not to be in pain whilst doing this. Once this is developed and the gymnast can do it, they can gradually move their hands in closer to make the exercise a little bit more difficult and make it more beneficial for the gymnast when they're moving on to doing the static inlocate on rings. Okay, another progression we can use for the shoulder inlocate is using a stick in the gym. So if you don't have a band, you can use a stick so that the gymnast can then use this as the next stage. When you do a static inlocate on rings, the rings will have movement because they're free moving. But what we would like the gymnast to achieve is to be able to inlocate the shoulder without pushing the rings too far to the side. So by using a stick, we can start slightly wider than the body and then gradually move the hands closer as the gymnast's shoulder mobility improves, so they're almost holding the stick exactly at the width of their shoulders. Okay, another nice exercise we can use on the floor to help develop the shoulder flexibility for the static inlocate is to be using a parallette. The gymnast is going to be sitting with their hands in undergrasp, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly slide the parallette away from the gymnast, and we'll look at the range of movement. So some gymnasts may be very limited in their shoulder range and only get to a certain amount of distance behind their back. What we want the gymnast to be able to do is to become almost till they're laying flat with a nice open shoulder angle, as when they've passed through the static inlocate, they'll end up hanging on the rings in a German hang position, fully extended. So the further we can get this developed, the better. So I'm going to hold the stick for the gymnast, and I'm going to gradually bring the stick back slowly. Again, checking with the gymnast that they're comfortable to there. This is normally a common position. The gymnast will get to around this area and then get stuck, or the shoulders will become tight. So we have to be careful to check with the gymnast to make sure they're comfortable to move further than that. Once we're comfortable, again, we can gradually move the stick slightly further away, increasing that range of movement in the gymnast's shoulders until they get to the point where they're feeling the full extension, and then hold the position there. Okay, once we've done this with the gymnast and we know the gymnast's full extension, their range that they can move to comfortably, we can allow the gymnast to do this on their own, knowing that they can take themselves to the point where they feel comfortable, and then they can hold it there, helping to increase their range of movement in their shoulders. Okay, another nice progression we can use for the shoulder flexibility for the static inlocate. Today we're going to use a set of P-bars. We're also standing on a raised surface. So today it's a beam, but it could be a crash mat or a block, whatever you need. Okay, and we're going to start with the gymnast with slightly bent knees, holding the P-bar rail, and then we're going to look at statically inlocating the shoulders. So we're rolling the shoulders in and out, simulating the same movement that will happen in the static inlocate. Common error we'll see when we're learning a static inlocate, if the gymnast has a lack of mobility in the shoulders, sometimes one shoulder will inlocate before the other. What we want to try and steer clear of is this, so we don't end up with shoulder injuries and pain. What we want to do is move both shoulders at the same time, so the gymnast seamlessly inlocates their shoulders to allow their body to roll upside down to end up in a German hang position. We're now going to move on to another progression. So we're actually going to be on the rings this time. The rings are going to be slightly lower. The gymnasts are going to have their feet on a raised block. This is just to take a little bit of the weight out of the gymnast when they're rolling their shoulders in initially. So the gymnast is going to hold onto the rings with their feet slightly in front of their body, and then we're going to watch to see the actual static inlocate start to happen, so the gymnast can pass through, in and out of the static inlocation, making multiple repetitions to work on their shoulder flexibility and the understanding of rolling their shoulders at the same time. We're moving into the final stages of teaching the static inlocation on rings. I'm then going to take the gymnasts a little bit of their body weight so that I can help them move freely in the static inlocate, allowing again to protect the gymnast's shoulders when they're learning these skills properly, so we don't have shoulder injuries from doing these basic elements. So I'm going to take the gymnast's body weight slightly as they roll in and out of the static inlocation. Okay, another part of the static inlocation will be actually a German hang. This will be the final position that the gymnast will finish in. So in the previous clips where we looked at sliding the parallette away from the gymnast, that will be the hanging position that the gymnast will finish at the end of the static inlocate. So it's good and important to look at the stages. So the gymnast now is going to just show us circling through and then hanging as low as he can in a German hang position, simulating the finishing point of the static inlocation. What we want to see here is the gymnast extended as far as they can with their body and a nice open shoulder angle. Again, when the shoulders have inlocated at the end of the static inlocate, this will be the finishing position the gymnast will be in. Okay, the final stage now is to show the full static inlocate with the gymnast doing it on his own. Again, we're going to look at watching what the rings are doing, watching the shoulders inlocate in a controlled motion. So we don't want to see one shoulder going before the other or the arms bending. We want a really nice roll of the shoulders to finish in a nice German hang position. Thanks for watching our video tutorial on static inlocation on rings today. Again, take your time with the shoulder mobility. You may have gymnasts that are restricted in that range of movement, and this takes time to build up. So make sure you use the stages and progressions that we've shown. Everything is done safely. This will prevent shoulder injuries and help the gymnast understand how to perform the skill safely.